Hi, welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. Please hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and comment down below. That is my favorite part. Today is a collab with Andi Does Stuff. This isn't our first collab and it won't be our last one. So yeah, make sure you go check out her channel, hit that subscribe button for her, hit that like or thumbs down, which I don't recommend, and comment on her makeup channel as well. She does a lot of unboxings and she does a weekly palette bingo that is really fun to watch. So yeah, make sure to go check her out and follow her, okay? Because if you're over on my channel, you're gonna like her content because it's awesome and it's better than mine. So our questions are the makeup collab questions. I think that these tag questions were created by Angela Nyquist and Samantha March, but I could be totally wrong. If I am, go ahead and let me know down below, because I like giving credit where credit is due. But the first question is all-time favorite palette. This was a hard one, picking an all-time favorite palette. I went ahead and went with the Glam Light Cake palette because I really do enjoy this palette. I love it a lot. The formula is great. Everything about this palette is amazing. The only thing I would change is adding a, getting rid of like one of these shimmers and adding a lime shimmer or a green shimmer. But it is a very good palette and I really do love it. The next one is a new favorite palette and that's what's on my eyes today. And I just used it and I love it. It's Spoiled Cosmetics or Spoiled Lips Cosmetics. I'm assuming it's called Call Me. I don't know. But I love it. I love it. It looks really washed out. Maybe that made it less washed out. The shimmers in this palette is like top notch. Like they're amazing. And of course I like their matte formula, so I really do like this palette and the color story. And yeah, again, these are really hard questions for me, and if you ask me tomorrow it might be a different answer. Just keeping it real. A palette that I'm keeping for the memories. This is the Too Faced Natural Lust palette. It has peacocks on it. My best friend got it for me because she knows that I love peacocks, and this was one of my first higher end palettes. This baby was expensive, and I only really wanted the packaging. It has the heavy matte in this here. It's an okay palette. I don't support Too Faced anymore. After one, their transphobic comments, and then two, their Rich Lives Matter birthday cake from the owner did it for me. Those are just my choices. I don't care if you support them, whatever, that's you, but that was just too much for me. So it's a company I no longer, you know, but this is a palette that I keep for memories because my best friend got it for me, and it was like we met each other at work and we were working knock shift together, and like when I look at this palette I think of all those memories with her. So okay, the next palette is the most underrated palette. Again, that was a really hard question, but I think it's the Main Stage Desert Dream palette by LA Girl. This palette is amazing. It's amazing. I think all LA Girl palettes are underrated, especially the ones like this. I can't speak for any other ones, but if it's the same formula that's in this, I think that they're really underrated because this palette performs amazing. The shimmers are beautiful, the color story is beautiful, and it's very affordable, especially when you find them on sale. And so I just really think that this is an underrated palette. A palette that you don't really care for but you can't make yourself get rid of. That's the Creature Cosmetics The Witch palette. So there's a video on my channel about this company, but Beauty Bay is now doing the same thing to me, and I've never had a company do this to me before. They were the first, and that's resending them a broken palette to get a non-broken palette. This palette had came broken, and they made me send it to them, wait for them to get it, and for them to reship a new palette. Beauty Bay is even doing me one worse, is they're not even reshipping a new palette, they're just gonna refund me. So I have to pay for shipping to order another fucking palette. So this is a palette that I have not used because I didn't like that whole experience with them. So it's kind of a palette that I am keeping and don't really care for, because when I look at it, I just get angry. But now I am experiencing that with Beauty Bay, and that really sucks, and I will continue to order from Beauty Bay because I love their fucking shit, and it just pisses me off even more. But anyways, the next palette is your favorite collaboration palette. So you guys, I picked the Mulan palette by ColourPop. I love Mulan. I love Mulan, and I think that this was a very good palette, and I love these foiled shimmers, foiled glitters that they put in the palette. It was kind of new to them. I love the color story, but for me it's all about the fact that it's Mulan. I can't pick a favorite Disney movie because that's really hard, but Mulan is probably up there, top 3. I don't know. Mulan has a lot of feelings for me as a non-binary person. I just kind of relate to her story just a little bit. I know that's not what her, you know, what that whole thing is about, but for me, that's where it hits for me. So anyways, I really like that. And can you tell me, answer me this, do you think that the main man character is gay or straight or bisexual? Because he kind of had a thing for Mulan when she was playing the male character, in my opinion. Anyways, the next question is favorite 2021 palette. I don't know if this came out in 2021, but I think it did. I don't know. Like the last 3 years have kind of just like smushed together, and I don't know what happened when. But this is the Beauty Bay Book of Magic. I love this palette. The shimmers in it are just amazing. The color story makes my heart sing. So yeah, hopefully this is a 2021 palette. If not, it was a favorite last year for me, for sure. Is it 2021? What year is it? It's 2022? Fuck if I know. That was a favorite of mine last year. That's all I'm gonna say. A palette you didn't expect to love. That is the Center Stage palette by Pinky Rose. It's very neutral. And these pressed glitters in it absolutely suck. I do not recommend their pressed glitter formula. Unless my palette is just old because I got it in Boxy Pop-Up and their shimmers are better when they're new. I don't know. But I love this palette, and I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do. A palette that brings you joy. That is the Ace Beauty Classical Paradise. Andi's Dust Stuff got this palette for me, and I lusted over this palette for many years, and then she got it for me. And so this palette brings me joy because I wanted this palette so bad, and a friend thought to get that for me. And the color story is freaking bomb and beautiful, and I just love everything about this palette. And it has these yellows, and yellows make me happy, and it reminds me of fall. And this, I call this palette the apple palette because it just reminds me of apples. Maybe that's weird, but yeah, this palette brings me so much joy. Newest palette to your collection. I'm gonna have to say that was probably this one because I've gotten a few new palettes lately. But this one I got in my $50 Beauty Busy store box. Moroccan, I think. Yeah, I haven't used it yet. I have swatched it, touched it, and it's very beautiful, bright and bold, and I'm excited to try it out to see what their color formula is like, because I have used their neutrals and wasn't a big fan. I'm curious how their stuff is like, if it changes from palette to palette, if it, you know, isn't consistent. I don't know. The next palette is first used in 2022. Hell if I know. Hell if I know. That was how long ago? It's April. Like, I don't remember. But the first one that came to my mind was the Pinky Rose Exotic Peacock, which is an amazing palette. Amazing. This is my favorite palette that I have of theirs, and I have a few. Yeah, the formula, it's beautiful. The color story is beautiful. This palette is fabulous. I'm gonna say that this was the first one I used, and I'm probably lying to you because I really just don't know. So, you know, Pinocchio knows is happening, but I really don't remember. So that was 11 questions, and Andy didn't like the fact that it was an odd number. So we added in the question of what is the oldest palette in your collection, and that is the Morphe Picasso. This palette is the oldest palette in my collection. It smells like crayon. I probably wouldn't put this on my eyes again. Probably. I can't say I wouldn't. Like, maybe if there was like a challenge, I may be stupid and put it on my eyes. It's old. And I got this palette after it had released, like, and I had a hard time finding it. I paid more than what it was worth. Yeah, this was my introduction into makeup, as far as being an adult. It was also my introduction into colored makeup, and this is what started it all for me. Like, this palette could have been on What I Keep for Memories too. But yeah, this palette started it all for me, you guys. This is what brought me into makeup. This is what brought me into colorful makeup. This is what brought me into everything. This palette started it all for me. So yeah, those are the answers to those questions as best as I could. Yeah, thank you, Andi, for inviting me to this collab. Make sure you guys go follow her, check her out, do all that fun stuff for her because she's amazing. Hopefully you enjoyed this thing. I love doing these, but let me tell you, I have all of my palettes alphabetically, you know, behind me, only by letters and brands. I don't have it like, you know, second letter in the alphabet. Like, I don't have it that organized. But it takes forever for me to pull everything out and then put it back. Anyways, yeah, I hope to see you next time. Bye.